Welcome to EDU 593 Module 1, and in this module it'll be an introduction to action research as well as choosing and learning about your research topic. So you can see here an overview of all the module components. We'll start with an overview and the learning materials, your self-introduction assignment, which you'll do in VoiceThread, a little bit about your peer response, your post 1, and then your first reflection assignment will be due based on your completion of the readings and the exercises and activities in chapters 1 and 2 in our book. And then your first Stage 1 paper is due this week as well, and then we'll do a little looking ahead to your annotated bibliography. So let's go ahead and dive in. We have our overview and learning materials here, and you're going to, it's again, as I said, introduction to action research as well as choosing your topic and getting into it a little bit. You have the objectives here. You're going to begin to frame your research problem, develop a literature review relevant to your study, begin formulating your research questions. You will begin to think about how you can include the literature from your two focal areas to support your proposed studies, and then being sure that you're creating research questions that take both of these focal areas into account. And again, you have these objectives here. There is here linked here a proposal template that you can make a copy of that will help guide you throughout your this course. So it provides, based on the book, there's a proposal title. This is where you would put your name and personal information, the date, and then there is a section, little description about all the different components of the paper, and this is all based on the book. So if this is helpful to you, please feel free to use this to help guide your proposal development. And the assignments, here's a little summary box of all the assignments due this week and when they are due. So just a reminder, this is a 6 weeks course. It does move quickly, so please try to follow the deadlines. So you have the assignments here along with the description, and we'll go on to the next page, which will be your first assignment, which is your VoiceThread. So record and introduce yourself. There's the assignment steps and then how to submit it. And then you'll load VoiceThread in a new window and submit it there. If you need help on how to create a VoiceThread, you can click on that link and it gives directions on how to create the VoiceThread. Next up, we have our peer response post, which is to exchange comments, remember, to build that virtual classroom community, and then you're also going to want to respond meaningfully to at least 2 peers. So be sure to post and then explain the focal issues that you, or problems in education that you want to study in more depth, explain briefly why you want to study these, and remember to connect them to your focal areas, 2 focal areas in the master's program. And be sure that you're addressing how you would integrate these areas to study the issues you identify. And then your part 2 is going to be studying, choosing at least 1 or 3 of the issues that are relevant to you and explain. And then you have, next is your reflection. Remember, I went over this in the major assignments video, but you're going to read the chapters, you're going to complete the chapter exercises and activities, and remember to synthesize them and reflect on how you're going to integrate both of your focal areas into an action research study. Remember, you are not just copying and pasting your responses to the chapter exercise and activities. You are going through and completing them, but then you're synthesizing them and applying them to your focal areas and this action research proposal. So just that is your reflection paper 1. And then you have your proposal development, stage 1, and you're going to write your stage 1. So in this one, you're going to frame your research problem, begin to develop the literature review, and formulate your research questions. So you're going to be sure to incorporate relevant studies from both your focal areas into the paper. This is really important. And you will be using, you can definitely connect what you're doing with the literature review to your annotated bibliography. That's also a part of this course. So the examples shown in the boxes in chapter 2 are very helpful as a model for your paper's organization. And again, I've provided a sample template for your that might be helpful to you as well. So feel free to use that template. And then looking ahead, we're going to begin to work on that annotated bibliography that really builds that foundation for your action research proposal. You're going to work on this throughout the course, and at the very end, you'll submit a final draft along with your research proposal. Remember that your annotated bibliography should contain articles and research that reflects both of your focal areas. But for example, if I'm doing elementary science education and computational thinking, I may not have a perfect 50-50 balance between the two. I may be looking at the ways in which computational thinking can be best integrated into elementary science education, and maybe I'll have more papers from the science education side and then fewer from the computational thinking. But we are aiming for a good representation from both of your focal areas. For your first paper, your paper 1 assignment for this module, be sure to cite studies from your initial annotated bibliography, including studies from both focal areas, and be sure to make a case for the study you propose to conduct. And then as you revise it, you can add additional studies as we go through. You're going to have at least 15 journal articles or relevant writings, and just a note there again, remember to it's very common, as I mentioned, for some studies to primarily draw literature from one area and then supporting literature from another. So that is Module 1. And as always, be sure to reach out if you have any questions.